Okay.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Ah,
Shall we start, sir?
start please.
Yes, sir. Good evening to one and all present here. It's very happy to invite you all for this webinar on dying art of computer science education and software craftsmanship by Mr. Tamizhvendan Sembiyan. Uh, he's the founder of Learn CS in Tamil, Kalvify. So he'll be just delivering. So I request now our mentor HR Mohan sir to invite the people and also welcome the people and also introduce about the speaker.
Greetings and good evening to one and all. On behalf of the organizing units, Computer Society of India, Chennai chapter, IEEE Computer Society, Madras chapter, ACM Chennai chapter, and IEEE Life Members Affinity Group of Chennai, I have great pleasure in extending a warm welcome to our today's speaker, Mr. Tamizhvendan Sembiyan, members and my colleagues from organizing units, and the participants joined the program through Google Meet and those watching the program through YouTube streaming. In today's context, computer science is the most preferred branch of study in engineering as it is considered to be offering great opportunity for employment since the IT field has provided such opportunities in the past and claims to have employed over 7 million people. However, in the recent developments in AI and geopolitical issues, the opportunity seems to be coming down. Added to that, several tech companies have announced layoffs. In this situation, the employability opportunities can be highly restrictive and only a select group can get absorbed in companies, for which the quality of education matters a lot. Today's presentation, The Dying Art of Computer Science Education and Software Craftsmanship, will focus on CS education. Computer science education was once about cultivating problem solvers and innovators. Today, it is often reduced to placement pipeline. Software engineering too risks losing its soul as speed as shortcuts overshadow the art of craftsmanship. In this talk, we will reflect on how our collective expectations have shaped both academia and industry and how we might revive the lost art of learning deeply and building well. So this is the only way that we will be able to sort of make ourselves indispensable in the field of IT in the future. Now, let me formally introduce the speaker. Mr. Tamizhvendan Sembiyan is a pragmatic and passionate software engineer, writer, and coach with over a decade of experience building products and mentoring teams. He cares deeply about computer science education, software craftsmanship, and helping organizations solve the right problem and solve the problem rightly. Earlier to his current solopreneurship and other initiatives, Mr. Tamil Vendan was with the Charge B, Ajira Tech, APCO Advisory Services, and Cognizant Technology Solutions, handling system engineering related roles. With this brief welcome note and introduction to the theme and the speaker, now let me invite Mr. Tamil Vendan to enlighten the participants on the current state of computer science education and the reforms needed. Over to Mr. Tamil Vendan.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. I'm extremely honored and grateful for this wonderful opportunity. And thanks again for the warm introduction. Let me share my screen. So, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Just a minute. Just a minute. I'm facing some challenges with sharing. Okay, so let me stop sharing and sharing again. Sorry about that.
We need it.
Sir, I think you're sharing the tab.
Yeah. The presentation mode is not showing up. Using a software called the key mode. Somehow,
If you share the entire window, it will come now, sir.
Yeah. I'm sharing that, but this is in a full mode. Just a minute, I'm quick. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So it looks like if I cannot, if I can share that this one, the video is not going through. Okay, by the way, you are seeing the screen, right? That is the most important piece. Can you all see the screen, the presentation screen?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about the technical glitch. Okay, okay, welcome everyone. I'm happy as well as sorry for this initial glitch. This particular topic is extremely close to my heart, not because it is going to talk about the craftsmanship. It is going to, this talk is all about something which I deeply value in my heart. And I also saddened because of the way it is progressing. So, and I'm thankful that Mr. Mohan sir has given me this opportunity to present in this forum. And through this talk, I wanted to create a butterfly effect. So that is why you are seeing that tiny little butterfly on the left hand side of the screen. So without much delay, let me get into the presentation. So I would like to start with 3 disclaimers. The very first thing, it's not a core technical talk. So I just saw the history of talks in this forum, like where most of the thing are around highly technical stuff. But this one is much beyond that. So if you are expecting something purely technical, sorry, this is not the right talk for you. And the second disclaimer, which I would like to share, is this particular talk is going to be a mix of philosophy, practicality, and reality. So basically, it's a mix of everything that required to become successful in this industry. The third disclaimer, as I said, it's a war cry from a software craftsman, which is me, who wants to leave this world better than I found it. Okay. So with these disclaimers, let me get into the crux of the presentation. I'd like to start with a story of a fresher. Imagine yourself as a fresher stepping into the college for the very first time. As you walk through the campus, the first thing that catches your eye is a massive banner flaunting last year's placements results with mighty CTC packages like 44 lakhs, 47 lakhs, 25 lakhs, proudly displayed. A few steps ahead, you notice another banner, this one showcasing a similar placements but comparatively lower CTCs. As a fresher who has just stepped out of school, what thoughts would start running through your mind as you look at these banners? You don't need to answer, just think about it. Now, the same story, but with a different screenplay. Let's reimagine the same scene. This time, instead of banners flaunting mighty CTC packages, you see one proudly showcasing a software product built by the college's own alumni. As you walk further, you come across another banner showcasing the research papers and patents filed by the college's alumni. Now, in the second screenplay, what thoughts would start running through your mind? Now, compare and contrast both the screenplays. If you were given a time machine, a chance to relive your college days as a fresher, which screenplay would you want to be part of? Your answer reveals more than just a preference. It actually reflects a mindset. The mindset, in turn, shapes a culture that influences the generations to follow. There is a timeless Tamil saying, "Ennam pol vazhkai," which means life is as you think. Our thoughts shape our choices. Our choices shape our culture. and our culture shapes our destiny. When our thoughts revolve around placements, we end up building placement factories. The objective of this talk is to revisit the current state of computer science education that was once meant to cultivate thinkers and builders, but now reduced to billboard of salaries. My hope and my belief is to help you to think a little differently. Let's go back to the root of this problem. To find that, we just need to go even beyond the topic, which is getting into the crux, which is what is the real goal of enrolling in a computer science degree? The practical answer is getting a job with a handsome salary, because that's what the world tells us, and miserably we conform. As the saying goes, "Ennam-pol vaalkai," life is as you think. Since we have come to see education as merely a means to get a job with a handsome salary, our institutions have started optimizing for exactly that. So, if you see, education is marketed like a product, which is the real painful experience for me. See, wherever you go, you see something like this: join us, get placed, earn X lakhs per annum. Once upon a time, computer science meant how things work, why algorithms are beautiful, why design matters, and why code can be an art. But today, we celebrate the output, not the craft. We replaced the curiosity to create with the pressure to get placed. We have turned a field of exploration into a funnel for recruitment. Unfortunately, none of this is anyone's fault. We just adapted to a system that stopped asking why. How can we fix this? Before we talk about how to fix this, let's take a step back and look at what is really wrong with the current state, why it bothers me so much. The current state. On one side, companies are struggling to find qualified software developers. On the other side, a huge number of students graduating with computer science degrees are not employable. Many of those who do get placed through the intensive placement drills often lack strong fundamentals and leaving companies frustrated and struggling to get the work done. Even those who somehow land a job often face layoffs after a few years. And unfortunately, the ones who escape all these things often find themselves stuck in their careers, unable to move forward. This cycle of struggle, stagnation, and burnout is what truly bothers me, because it tells me something which is fundamentally broken in how we prepare our students. As someone who comes from this same socio and economic background and living a grateful life because of a solid computer science education, I can either accept this reality and move on, like most people do, or I take a step to change it. I choose the latter. I can't just stand by and watch it decay. So, what's the fix? There is a saying, right? We should start from where it all went wrong, our thoughts. We cannot solve problems with the same thinking we used to create them. Coming back to the anchoring point of this presentation, Ennam-pol vaalkai, life is as you think. We need to find the fix in our thoughts. So for that, I'm going to take a philosophical detour. I'm not sure how many people have the belief, but trust me, travel with me for the next few minutes before we jump into the conclusion and get back to the main topic. Okay. So the philosophy is around the education. So it's not a lot of other philosophies that you heard of. So let's stick to the education side of the story and the purpose of education. So what is the purpose of the education? So according to Wikipedia, education is the process of acquiring knowledge, skills, values, and habits, encompassing both the transfer of information and development of reasoning and character. It sounds like a 2-mark questions in an examination, but if we spend some more time in understanding the depth of this particular paragraph, you will see one of the powerful definition of education. And each of these words could inspire a talk on its own. But have you noticed, is there anything about money or job in this definition? It's talking about education, right? And all the educational institutions are going after money and job. But this definition, this precise definition of what education is not talking about money or job. Let me take this philosophy further. Why do we educate ourselves in the first place? Through the education, we are acquiring knowledge, skills, habits, reasoning, and character. But what are we doing with all these things? That ties back to the purpose of education, which is very simple. It's add value to ourselves and those around us. It is about becoming better humans who can think critically without any bias and create things that truly matter. In a nutshell, it's all about leaving the world a little better than we found it. That is the sole purpose of education. Now, we revisited what education truly means. Let's see how that translates or even fails to translate in our own field, computer science. Let's start from what's the objective of earning a computer science degree. Anna University, one of the famous university in Tamil Nadu, has articulated it beautifully in their computer science and engineering program educational outcomes, which state that engineering graduates should be able to apply their technical competence in computer science to solve real-world problems with both technical and people leadership, conduct cutting-edge research and develop solutions on problems of social relevance, work effectively in business environments, demonstrating teamwork, ethics, adaptability, and a commitment of lifelong learning. Such a beautiful purpose. Again, if you look at this purpose, it is not talking about getting placed. It is not talking about higher CTC. It is not talking about dream companies. It is not talking about anything that you hear across different colleges. And this program outcome is even more comprehensive in this document. They even talk about 12 more points that touch upon society, environment, sustainability, ethics, the society, communication, much higher. Again, if you look at the university who is setting up the curriculum, who is affiliating the college, all that is not talking about the placement at all. It is talking about the real outcome which the country or the individual expected to give back to the society. Let's imagine a world. Students start thinking in terms of acquiring skills and knowledge, focusing on building sustainable careers rooted in strong foundation. Let's imagine a world where educational institutions start thinking in terms of enabling students to embark on this journey with every possible support instead of pushing them through these relentless placement drills. Let's imagine a world where companies start thinking in terms of evaluating students for their deep foundational understanding rather than mind-numbing lead code puzzles that have little relevance to their actual work. How wonderful that world would be. Let me tell you a strangest secret. This is what everyone truly needs. Unfortunately, their wants will often overshadow it. Let me repeat it again. whatever we have seen as purpose is what everyone truly needs deep inside their heart. But unfortunately, their wants take control of it. Why? The fear of not getting placed, the fear of poor rankings, the fear of not following the norm. It just goes. We cannot reduce this fear through new policies or grand reforms. We just need a new way of thinking. To make the imagined world a reality, all we need is changing our thought process. To embrace this new way of thinking, there are three parties involved here: students, institutions, and companies. Let me start from the student side. Most of the students see a college degree as nothing more than a key to unlock the door to employment. What they do? Like how they study the night before an exam to secure a pass mark. Many students today do just enough to crack the interviews. The same way they skip lessons that won't be asked in an exam, they now ignore topics that won't be asked in interview. Thanks to countless YouTube videos and courses on interview preparation, they have become experts at learning the nuts and bolts needed to crack the hiring rounds of any companies out there. The saddest part, which is actually the triggering moment for me to present this topic, is many folks attend hackathons and take up mediocre internship only to boost their numbers and look smart in their resumes. They are literally chasing a checklist of things to crack, not to learn. It's not that these students don't want to learn. It is the mindset, or rather the culture, that has been imposed on them that makes them behave this way. If anyone dares to deviate from this so-called norm, the fear of missing out quickly kicks in and the poor student falls prey to it. Just imagine this small little kid who believes shopping malls are ice cream parlors if they are taken there only to buy ice cream. These poor students grew up believing that this is the only formula that they have to live by. The other side of the problem lies with the software companies that hire these students. From my personal experience, the hiring process of freshers does not get the attention it deserves. Most companies simply follow what others are doing, asking data structure questions and algorithm questions by default. Once upon a time, these questions were included for a right reason, to assess students' problem-solving ability. But unfortunately, it is not serving its purpose right now. Then what is happening? Currently, it is experiencing the Cobra effect. People who is unaware of Cobra effect, it is a real story that happened in our British era, where the population was facing challenges with cobras, and the administrators during that time were announced a bounty program saying that if you bring in the cobra alive or dead, you will get cash rewards. So what people did, they started farming cobra. They started doing cobra farming. In the same way, you know, the algorithm and data structure problems, which was once a powerful tool to evaluate a student's problem solving ability now than to just merely memory and repetition. Again, thanks to all those interview materials out there. These questions is actually no longer measure the true understanding or fundamentals. That is the harsh reality. The third dimension in this story, the academic institution. Once again, with good intention, they are helping students to get placed. They introduce the students to 2 to 3 year placement programs. I should say 2 to 3 years placement drills that push and pressure students through the grind. The powerless students with little choice conform to all these practices, focusing more on placements at the cost of understanding, learning, and absorbing academic fundamentals. We didn't arrive here overnight. It happened slowly, one small compromise at a time. And now we find ourselves trapped in an endless vicious circle. To escape from this trap, we need to shift our mindset across all these 3 dimensions: students, academic institution, and companies. So I'm going to throw some thoughts, which I believe if we start thinking in this angle, we can come out of this trap. Again, from a student perspective, the first thought which I want to embed in your brain is make yourself deserve before you desire. That is the first thought I would like to embed in your brain. What does it mean? Desire is a natural thing for every human being. Who on earth doesn't want a fulfilling career or a meaningful life? But the important question that we need to ask ourselves, do we really deserve in the first place? The instant answer from most of you will be an obvious yes. But deep inside your heart, you know who you are. And you know whether you have put the real body of work that is required. You know whether you have taken shortcuts or not. To achieve what you desire, first you become deserve. That deserve actually comes from within, not from outside. Once you make yourself deserving, everything else, placements, marks, recognition, will naturally fall into place. They are byproducts, not goals. Just like butterflies gravitate toward honey, these external rewards will drawn to you once you become that magnetic personality. Next, the million-dollar question will be, how do we become one? I just said you need to become deserved, but how can one become deserved? It's very, very simple. You just need to put the real work required. Okay, so it's a bit abstract. So let me get some concrete example. Okay, this is exactly what I did when I am a first-year student in my college life. So this is not preaching. This is something that really, really worked for me. And this is a honest and heartfelt reflection of my personal experience. Okay, so this concrete explanation talks about a simple thing. Again, I'm using that same Anna University college syllabus. And in the first year, there is a subject called problem solving and Python programming. It actually contains 5 units. Let's take this first one, computational thinking and problem solving. Okay, it's one of the most powerful chapter that everyone should immerse them. Okay, the real work, I'm talking about real work here. Okay, the real work begins in developing a deep understanding of the topics covered. It's when I say deep work, what I mean here is going through the prescribed textbook, exploring the listed references, and use the internet wisely to research even further until you truly absorb and internalize each concept. Okay, so like this is available to each and every student's But you know what is happening? The textbooks referred by only very few. The references books, no one touches. Instead, what they are doing currently? They go through some, existing materials from their, seniors, and they're just studying some notes and getting themselves good marks. But the real learning, the real work actually lies here. You should read these textbooks and references just like a researcher, just like someone who wants to understand what this entire thing is all about. Each and every book out there, references out there, gives you everything that you needed. But what we are doing instead, we are ignoring all these things and searching this thing in YouTube, asking for a formula, asking for a cheat code. But the real work lies right here, right in front of your eyes. The most important thing when you are doing the real work, okay, you are not doing all these things to score good marks or a secure placement. Your objective here is to build a solid foundation, a skill that will last a lifetime. Okay. Another aspect of this real work is acting on the knowledge that you acquired. Okay, so it's not that reading, like then we will get into something called knowledge constipation, where the knowledge just resides in your brain and it will evaporate after some point of time. So what you need to do with those knowledge? I'm in the context of the work that you need to do. There is a saying, right? Like a ship in the harbor is safe, but that's not what a ship is for. In the same way, you might feel good about the knowledge or the skill you have built, but it is of no use if you don't put that into work. Knowledge itself is not power. The applied knowledge is power. So you gain the knowledge by going through those textbooks and references and all those things. How are you going to apply these things? And again, this is the exact thing that I have did. I taught it to my friends. I built a lot of side projects, gave small presentations, and nowadays I write a lot of blog posts. So when you do all these things, you are not just sharing. You are helping yourself. You are deepening your understanding through a technique called reflection and application. Okay. So again, your intention really matters here. This is the most important thing. Okay. There is no nothing or right in anything. It is the intention with which we approach those things that matters. So when you are doing this, I urge you to have a childlike curiosity and doing this just for the joy of learning. So with that childlike curiosity and the joy of learning, if you learn all these things and apply in the form of like teaching, presentation, or side projects or whatever, I will tell you the foundation that you are building will take you for the entire life. Trust me, everything in your career that you are seeking will fall in place automatically. This is exactly what happened and continues to happen in my life. The moment I communicate this, go back to your syllabus, read about the textbooks and references, people often ask me, Tamil, like, are you really serious? Is those syllabus are still relevant and not outdated? Let me tell you another secret. Secret number 2, the fundamentals are still the same. This question, right? Like, is our syllabus still relevant? So that's because of a common myth that is often repeated in social media. So that myth actually is exposing a lack of clarity. People often fail to differentiate between the foundational knowledge and the superficial layers on top of it. The tools, frameworks, technologies, those things keep evolve and change. But the foundation remains rock solid. So once you understood the difference between these two, this confusion will slowly move away. To quote an example, again, my personal favorite, okay? The moment when you talk about computer science, or even in the interviews, what they say, problem solving, problem solving, problem solving. But what is the real book which is going to talk you about or teach you about problem solving? Do you know? It was there in my reference books when I was doing a college, when I was doing my degree. Okay, so I will talk about the book in another slide. So this particular principle, right, still I am following. I am working with different enterprise customers, different startups, but this basic remain the same. Again, 4 timelines, 4 simple steps. The very first step, understanding the problem. The second step, devise a plan on how to carry out the solution. Third step, obviously, carrying out the plan. Fourth step, the most important step, looking back, reflect on your work and ask how it could be better. If you can take one technical thing from this talk, these 4 steps for you, you will be wondering, what is the origin of those timeless principles? It was from this great book, How to Solve It. It is on the mathematical side, which was published in 1945. And this book inspired our How to Solve It by Computer, which is 1982, which was published later in 1982. As I mentioned earlier, that was the reference book in my first year. I'm extremely thankful, and I'm feeling blessed because in my initial formative years, I have read that book. If not, this book is available in that references, and if not, that book is available in my college library, you would not be listening to me right now. This book had a solid impression on me with those fundamentals, which is still helping me, no matter whether AI is going to replace or not. I cannot predict that. But one thing which I can still believe on is these 4 timeless basics. Okay, so concepts like computational thinking, divide and conquer, relational database design, network layer protocols, object-oriented programming, web application fundamentals, operating system concepts, data structures, algorithms, all remain the same. All these basics still the same. So don't get confused. Focus on deepening your understanding on these fundamentals. We'll continue to evolve with new techniques and technologies. Learn the new things, but never at the cost of losing the foundational things. So this is the first thought I want to change in students' mind. The second thought, again, it's coming from my life experience. I want to instill in every student's mind is to approach your life with an abundance mindset, a truly transformative way of thinking that has had a profound influence on my career and life. So to understand the abundance mindset, we need to learn from the opposite, the scarcity mindset. Most of us are conditioned to live with a scarcity mindset because that's what our environment teaches us, right? So we behave as if like there is only limited amount of money to learn. There is only limited amount of food to enjoy, limited opportunities to chase. We rush to do things, fearing that if we don't do, we will miss out on something. And thanks to this notorious modern day word, FOMO, fear of missing out, the situation has got really worse. So you need to get out of this. That is the secret number 3. The world is bountiful. It has enough for everyone. Those who truly seek always find it. It is as simple as that. Whatever you are looking for in your life, the world is providing you. But are you seeking? The moment you got into this abundance mindset, right, you will see the world totally differently. You will feel a breath of fresh air. You no longer compare or compete because you know you will get what you deserve. Everyone's journey is different. If someone is getting into Google or someone is getting into Amazon, you don't mind because you know where you are getting into. So you are focused on yourself, becoming deserve more and more. And above everything else, you no longer chase anything. You are enjoying a beautiful journey. And that's what an abundance mindset will give to you. The third thing, like once you started seeing the world through abundance, you will feel a different person in you. The final mindset which I want to instill in you is having a better attitude towards software companies. The moment I say software companies, what actually most students hear is FANG. I'm sorry if any of the FANG fans out there, pardon me, because I'm going to talk something which is not going to help you. Okay, super. So what is it about? Like if you open LinkedIn or YouTube, it's across. It's like left, right, and center. It's all over the place. And unconsciously, we start treating these organizations as the gold standard for placements, and inevitably, all our actions begin to align towards cracking their interviews. But let me tell you one thing. Life is much, much bigger than form. There is no doubt that these companies are great places to work. But aiming for these at the cost of neglecting your academic is like losing the sight of the forest while looking for the trees. You need to remember this particular word. Your foundation is your freedom. Today, I'm speaking to you as a solopreneur. I'm not employed anywhere. The sole reason is because of my foundation. The foundation is your freedom. Mastering the fundamentals, doing the deep work that we discussed earlier, gives that rock solid foundation to launch your career in any direction you aspire to. My humble request, don't let some random person influence or control your journey. In the early years of your career, what you learn matters far more than how much you earn. Again, I'm repeating, your foundation is your freedom. Build it strong. It will take you anywhere. So to summarize, make yourself deserve before you desire. Put the real work. Don't take any shortcuts. The world has enough for everyone. Always nurture that abundance mindset. Enjoy your life with inspiration, not influence. So that's all from the student side. Let me move on to the institution side and discuss the mindset changes that needed to be incorporated on the institution. We have a rich heritage. You know, it dates back to Nalanda University, which was considered as Oxford, Harvard, Oxford, and NASA of its time. Scholars and students from across the world came to India in pursuit of knowledge. We also carry the legacy of the curriculum system, where one learned education for life, not just for a living. Just like an old book that gathers dust when left unopened, our rich educational heritage too gathered dust. It's not because we stopped reading that book. Sadly, we completely ignored the bookshelf itself. Why did we ignore it? The society's thought process changed. We started valuing job titles, salaries more than education and skills. Unfortunately, our academic institutions simply mirrored that mindset. I want to tell you a story that is very close to my heart, which beautifully reflects the change I want to see in the educational institution. The story of bad flight from our beloved Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sir's life. I hope most of you are already aware of the story. Let me repeat it. It was, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was in his school days. There was a lesson on how birds fly. His classmate and himself were not able to understand the theory when the teacher were explaining in the blackboard. So recognizing this confusion, the teacher took them to a seashore that evening. On the beach, the teacher showed how birds use their wings and tails together to fly, steer, and change their direction. That particular demonstration was a turning point for Kalam. He suddenly saw and understood what he had only read about. He later said that in a single experience, he said that this single experience gave him a clear aim in life, leading him to study physics, aeronautical engineering, and ultimately becoming a rocket scientist. What a wonderful story. The teacher never set out to make Dr. Kalam a rocket scientist. All he wanted was to help his students truly understand the concept by creating the right environment, which is taking them to the seashore and sparking their curiosity by showing how birds are flying and linking that back to aerodynamics. And it is that curiosity that eventually led Dr. Kalam to become who he was. Just imagine what would have happened if that teacher had focused instead of coaching the students, focused instead to coach the student to crack entrance exam to become rocket scientist. We might have lost one of those most eminent minds in our planet. So this is the thought that I wanted to change in academic institution. Start teaching that ignites curiosity and exploration. That's the kind of change that I wanted to see in our institution. From teaching to crack interviews and exams, start teaching the things that ignites the curiosity and exploration. My humble request to those honorable members of those educational institutions, I truly empathize with you. The world around you often judges your institution by the number of job placements achieved, and we all know that's an narrow vision. What are you doing is nothing short of a noble service. You are not educating individuals. You are shaping a society, nurturing a culture. Let's not fall prey to these poor metrics. Let the reputation of your institution spread through the word of mouth of your alumni, the quality of alumni you produce, and not their salaries. Because at the end, it's not that salaries that build legacy. It is the students of your institution who do. So let's focus on building a well-rounded individuals. Everything else will be taken care of. Okay, with that, let's move on to the third dimension, which is the companies. And deep dive on the thought process change I want to see in companies. Just as an educational institution, which is performing a noble service by educating the students, companies play an equal critical role in society by employing them. And in doing so, it is creating an entire ecosystem. For a sustainable future, we need a healthy environment where everyone can thrive. And companies being at the center of the ecosystem have the power and responsibility to make that environment thrive. But instead of doing all these things, why these companies are sticking to this lead code type of questions when it comes to interview? I'm not against lead code anyway. But there is something wrong, which is much beyond than lead code. So to understand what is going wrong, we need to get into the real boardroom of what is happening inside a company. To shed some light, I will tell you what is the real problem is happening out there. Running an organization is a Herculean task. The founders, the leaders fight countless battles each day just to keep their companies afloat and profitable. In the constant juggling of priorities, hiring freshers often does not get the attention it truly deserves, even though it is critical to the long-term health of their business. So what is happening instead? Most organizations think about fresher hiring only during the campus placement season. In a matter of days, people from different parts of the company are pulled away from their regular work and asked to focus on this hiring process. Once it is over, they return to their day-to-day responsibilities. So given this short window and lack of preparation, these well-meaning teams often don't have the time or space to bring meaningful change or rethink what the interview should truly assess. So what happens? They just simply look around and copy paste what everyone else is doing. What everyone else is doing? Everyone else is doing lead code style of questions to filter candidates. And we end up in this vicious circle. Even if one or two people in that organization decide to change the process, my personal experience, they have to convince multiple stakeholders inside the organization and work against the system that are already set up differently. The sad reality is, larger the organization, longer and harder it becomes. So those who genuinely want to improve this process often struggle to do so, because it is not that it is their main responsibility. They have other responsibilities, their main employment. So they have to look after that. So it gets lost. So unfortunately, the entire interview process now slipped into this auto mode where no one is willing to make the necessary change simply because the effort it takes to break this chain is enormous. Sometimes I wish like I had a magic wand once that could help the organization break free from this spiral and guide them to design interviews that truly evaluate students' depth of understanding rather than the ability to replicate an algorithmic pattern that easily can found in internet. I don't have that magic wand, but I do have the magic thoughts, which I believe if those words reverberate and get to the ears of the decision makers of an organization, the change will bound to happen. This is the thought which I wanted to inculcate in companies. Make hiring as your business strategy. The real magic of any organization is people. A company is nothing but a collection of decisions and their outcomes. A profitable company is the one that has made more right decisions and executed them well. But for those decisions and flawless execution, you need people. It doesn't come from thin air. Now imagine what would happen if those companies didn't hire those diligent and thoughtful people in the first place. So instead of treating hiring as an afterthought, a reactive activity that you do once in a while, make it as an integral part of your organizational strategy and give the attention it truly deserves. The second thought that I wanted to bring in companies' radar is create a bespoke interview process. You need to reinvent the wheel because your vehicle is different. Every company is different. The way of operating, their culture, the expectation from employees, all are unique. Then why should its interview process look like everyone else? You have a success formula inside your organization. All you need to do, reverse engineer those successful hires. I encourage companies to look inward and identify common traits of successful freshers they have hired over the years. Once you discover that blueprint, reverse engineer your interview process to assess those very characteristics. Let me tell you this. What every company needs out there is a fresher with a strong understanding of fundamentals, genuine curiosity, growth mindset, humility, and empathy, which is exactly what I was talking when I was talking the new thoughts that a student has to think. This is what the company also needs. So why acting like as if like we are not aware of all these needs? The third and the magical thought that I wanted to share is around work closely with the academia and bridge the gap. Every organization has this corporate social responsibility, CSR initiatives. I urge all these organizations to start corporate academic responsibility and another initiative. Okay, so it's basically it's the like so far we are treating the colleges as just hiring grounds. Let's treat them as growth partners. Work with them, design better curriculums, mentor students, create a real learning opportunities where you are not only investing the time and expertise, you are not creating better candidates, you are building a strong industry. Some organizations already offer this kind of training programs, but very often those training programs often limited to the specific needs. So those initiatives definitely help students become employable, but it narrows the scope of learning. So what I urge is help student to achieve more capabilities by expanding your wings to academia. Trust me, once you started giving the value like this, you will return the value multifold. So we covered a lot of ground, where we are, what led us here, where we need to go, and how to get there. To summarize, it all begins with a simple change in our thought process. Students, replace your fear with curiosity. Academic institutions, replace the metrics with purpose. Companies, replace your conformity with individuality. Like the butterfly effect, where a single flap of wings can set off a storm halfway across the world. These small changes in our thoughts can reshape the future of computer science education. As the point says, Ennam pol varkai, life is as you think. By sharing my thoughts in this talk, I have flapped my wing. I believe the effect will be realized one day. Because that's what life is all about. Ennam pol varkai. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful session, sir. Participants, if you have any questions, can unmute yourself and can ask. Sir, there is 2 questions that was asked during the registration process, sir. So one question, it's the basic question from Magdalena. What is craftsmanship? Sir, you're on mute, sir.
Okay. Craftsmanship is all about doing things you love for the sake of doing and enjoying the process.
Thank you, sir.
Nothing else.
What are the key qualities of good software craftsmanship for beginners?
So, as I already mentioned, it is about having a strong foundation.
Thank you, sir. And next question from the chat box from Ronak Pandey. So Mr. Ronak Pandey has asked a question like, he's a first year BTech student from BBS College of Engineering and Technology, Uttar Pradesh. How to improve our skills? He's asking a simple question. How to improve our skills, but it is needed one.
It's already answered in the presentation. In case if you missed, you can always go back and let this thing end.
Yes, the entire presentation was all about that.
Exactly. So just follow your curiosity. Always have that burning.
Rajesh, sir, you want to ask some question? Try to unmute yourself and ask, please. We're not able to hear you properly. Mr. Rajesh? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rajesh.
Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. It's been like for me, it's like
Rajesh, can you be a bit louder? I'm having some challenges in hearing you. Or can you post your question? Can you post your question in the text in the chat?
Is it better now?
Kind of, but it would be better if you can share your question on the chat.
Sir, it is very low. The voice is very low. Yash, can you just unmute yourself and ask, ma? Yash? You have raised your hand, Yash?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Yeah. Hi, Ash.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Yash Tiwari, a BTech first year student from BBS College of Engineering and Technology, Prayagraj, Uttar Pradesh. And my question is, how can we become a good engineer? By scoring good marks or by studying topics and subjects deeply? As we know, since companies hire based on result and marks.
So that is the change that I wanted to see in organizations. They should not discriminate people based on the marks. Marks are just a metric which not truly reflect the capability of an individual. Like they need to go beyond. And like if you saw in my presentation, that's what I have asked for. Like, I just urge those companies, just go back, list your employees, list the freshers you hired, how much they scored in their academy. I'm damn sure if you take that list, you will never ask for marks when you go to placement. Unfortunately, companies are taking that blind approach of putting some random percentage like 70%, 60% as their filter criteria. But truly that is not their need.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So one more thing, which Ronak has asked, are we going to get a certificate for this session? The real certificate is not what you get from others. The real certificate is what you get from yourself. That's what my presentation is all about. You don't need external recognition for communicating who you are. Your actions, your words, your output will speak for you. Don't look for external certifications.
Yes, sir. Sir, Archana Mishra has asked one question. How can students practically apply the concept of software craftsmanship while working on college or personal projects?
So again, I'm speaking from my personal experience. So whenever I learn something, I immediately build something using it. For example, in my college first year, I learned C++. So what I did was I created a console-based application which keeps track of blood donors in my academy, in my college. The same way, when I was creating in the operating system section, like I was fiddling with Linux. I created a mini operating system, and that it's all about that childlike curiosity. Like we talk about tinkering, right? Like in a mechanic shop, if you go, there will be people who never have a academic degree, but they are well versed in doing the mechanical stuff. How they learned? Just by doing tinkering. I recommend all of you who were doing academic, just do tinkering. Whatever you learn, just play with it. Just like in good old days where we open tape recorders, where we open even computers and fiddle around and learn by doing mistakes. And that's the best way to learn and master. And that's how the craftsmanship evolves. So when you start appreciate things for what it is, and again, it's a mix of a lot of things. The craftsmanship is a combination, but at the crux, it's all about the inner joy that you experience when you are doing those things. So seek that happiness, chase that curiosity.
Yashasvi, you have raised your hand. Can you just want to ask something to the speaker?
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Yashasvi, a member of SRM University CSI student chapter. So at college, we have a group chat that often shares CSI workshops and webinars, and usually I would just ignore them. But I saw your workshop and I was really interested. And I have to say, I'm really glad I joined this webinar because your talk was really inspiring, and I wish someone had told me these things when I was in first year. And like you mentioned, many people around me are caught up in this peer race without a real aim. And I can relate to the feeling of FOMO quite often these days. Recently, I had an opportunity to get a 6 months internship, and it helped me take a step back from the usual placement rush. It gave me a new perspective, and I've been learning, understanding, and growing more curious about things that truly matter. And I'm genuinely grateful because I got to listen to your webinar, and I'm also thankful to CSI for this. Thank you for making a positive impact.
Thank you. Yashasvi, you made my day.
Thank you for the feedback, Yashasvi. Shivachandran, Mr. Shivachandran, you have just raised your hand. You have any queries, sir?
Yes, I do. Hello, Kamal.
Hi, Shiva.
Thank you for the wonderful session. So I'd like to know what's your thoughts on LLM or AI code generation, the negative impact in especially in senior freshers who are failing to understand the fundamental, rather prompting their problem and just copy pasting the solution.
So that's another unfortunate situation that we are into. See, a knife as a tool is neither good or not bad. It is with the hand or it is with the purpose in which it is being used. That what determines whether it is good or bad. In the same way, the entire AI ecosystem is really a good innovation for our entire software ecosystem. But at the same time, someone who is using it should know what he or she is doing. Like, the real challenge is these people, when they get into AI without understanding what it does and why it does, the problem is it's not a one-time wonder. Whatever we are creating as software in a day-to-day work in real companies, that is going to stand for years. And like, there are companies which is going to use for doing their financial transactions. So we cannot afford a foundational thing getting missed. So it's kind of a situation where organizations are pushing AI as part of productivity improvement. But on the other side, it should be with the people with the right mindset and who has the right knowledge to use those tools. It is, and I would recommend the leadership of the organization to revisit that thought process. There is something called the second order effect, which is you are making an action and you are getting an output. And by taking that action, there is a reaction. That is what the second order effect is. Here, at the example that you mentioned, Shiva, like when those people who is, I don't say juniors, I would say people who is not aware of the underlying output of the AI is actually creating a lot of second order effects, which will be counterproductive in the long run. So the organization has to be really mindful when it hands these kind of powerful tools to people who is not aware of how to use these tools.
Thank you.
So is there any further questions? Okay. So if there is no further questions, I would like to propose the formal note of thanks. So thank you all for participating in this. So he started with one famous proverb called as life, telling that throughout his presentation. So the speaker has just started with three perspectives. There is how the student should think of, how the faculties, how the teaching faculties has to do their thing, and also he ended with how the industry should also. So all the three parts he just started, and he was explaining like how the student should have their base, the foundation strong, and how they should focus on their career. So they should not only think of getting a good grade and getting all things done, mugged up, and then getting into a good industry. So you should have the strong foundation and to use that throughout your career. So that is one thing. So he was explaining with some of the secret thoughts that, and also he just stated that what is everyone truly needs, they are just having that what everyone truly needs, that overshadowing wants are overshadowing us. So that has to be taken care. And also he stated that we also should have the fundamentals very strong even various technologies are being evolved, but still having that fundamental knowledge is very essential. And he also stated that make yourself deserve before you desire. So he stated that. And he was also talking about how a faculty should shape up that. So with a very good example of Mr. Abdul Kalam, Dr. Abdul Kalam's school, childhood story. So he was explaining with that, and which made all of us to understand how we should focus on and how we should shape the students. So we should have the mindset how to take things. So that also we have to understand. And also he just told about how the companies should think of. So he was stating about corporate academic responsibility, CAR. So how they should have, how they should bridge the gap between the industry and the academia. And he stated that make hiring as a business strategy and create a bespoke interview process. So we just have to define it, and we have to have the skill to be enhanced. That is the meeting, and we have to work. The companies has to work on that, and as I already mentioned, work closely with academia and the bridge between the academia and the industry gap. So that we have to bridge. That is the thing. And he ended with a thing like students replace fear with curiosity. Academic institutions replace metric with purpose, and companies replace conformity with individuality. So, and he ended with again the same quote: "Ennampol vaalkai, life is as you think." So we all just promise you that we will be just having this thought in from today, like we all had, and we also will follow that from today very seriously, and make the entire cycle, that is all the student, the faculty and the industry side to work towards this, and make our entire world to have lots and lots of Abdul Kalams. And thank you, sir. So I would like to thank the speaker, Mr. Tamizhvendan, sir. So that was a wonderful session throughout. We were all listening to it without moving from our space. So it was very interesting and very thought-provoking. So you explained with the very simple terms, but still whatever we should do and what we are doing, and what things we should do to make our environment, make our world better. So thank you so much, sir. And your question and answer session was also mind-blowing. Thank you so much. I would like to thank our mentor, Mr. H.R. Bogan, sir, for organizing such wonderful webinars. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your continuous support. I thank all the organizing units, IEEE, CS, ACM, and the Computer Society of India for jointly organizing such a webinars. Last but not least, I thank all the participants who are all here enthusiastically listened to the webinar and just shared your queries also with the speaker. Thank you all. And before ending, I would just like to inform the forthcoming webinars that we have. On November 11th, we have a webinar on hyper-personalization in software-defined vehicles, shift from adaptive ecosystems to identity-driven mobility. And we also have another webinar on November 26, 2025 on vulnerability to victory, business use cases in cybersecurity. So I request all to just enhance your knowledge also by attending these webinars. Thank you all. For registration, for the details of the registration link, in the credential mail itself, you must have the link. So please visit to the credential mail, where down you will be having the details of the webinar and also the registration link. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Tamil, for the wonderful session.
Thanks, sir.
And thought-provoking and philosophical. But only thing is, we hope the changes do